Well, what a busy morning it has been and will continue to be. We had the Armed Forces Day out in Mpumalanga, the Ace Magashule trial in the Free State, and of course then we spoke to Mbalenhle Mthethwa here about the Life eSitimeni. And now back here in Gauteng again, Gauteng Premier David Makhura will this morning present the annual State of the Province address. And Makhura says that he has bigger plans for the province, and these include fighting corruption and dealing with e-tolls. So let's cross to our reporter Natasha Phiri, who is not far from where we are. She's at the Brixton Multipurpose Centre. Natasha, good morning. And it seems as there's already quite a hive of activity behind you. Tell us more about what to expect today.
Well, very good morning to you, Sakina. Of course, to our morning live viewers, indeed. It is quite a hive of activity here at the Brixton Community Centre, and of course all are waiting in anticipation for the much anticipated State of the Province address, possibly the last State of the Province address that will be delivered by Gauteng Premier Mr. David Makhura. It would be interesting to actually inform you, Sakina, and our viewers that yesterday at the ANC's Cadres Assembly in Nasrec, where all branches of the ANC, all alliance members of the ANC, David Makhura is in his capacity as the chairperson of the ANC in the province had said that he would not be coming back. He would not be contesting the chairpersonships in, the much anticipated ANC conference that is expected to take place in a couple of months from now. But of course, that is a story for another day. Down to today's business, of course, we do expect the Premier to take stock of, the promises that he's made over the years in terms of the SOPA promises and, of course, what has actually come to fruition. If you'll remember that last year he focused on 4 key priority areas. That would be the fight against COVID-19, economic recovery, fighting corruption, and improving governance around the province, which is the economic hub of the country. But actually, just to talk to me further, I'm joined by a member of the opposition, that is Mr. Kume, who's from the DA. Thank you so much for joining us in SABC News. Just your quick reaction, what are you anticipating?
No, thank you for the opportunity. We're expecting the Premier to share with us in terms of how is he going to rebuild our economy. As we know, COVID has actually dealt a big blow. Unemployment rate in this province has gone up. So we want to see something, tangible things. But there are some of the things with which provincial government has been failing, especially when you look at the infrastructure department. There are so many projects which are on hold because of the incompetent MEC. So we, from our side, will expect him to say he's going to reshuffle his cabinet for those who are underperforming. Like MEC Mutara, if you look at from the education perspective, there are so many schools which are on hold, and we've got high pressure now as we speak. We still have learners who are still sitting at home because there's no schools which they will go to. So we're hoping that the Premier will touch into that to say, what is he going to do, rather than just to make all these mega plans, but we want to see action being taken.
You talk about action, you also talked about corruption. Last year the Gauteng provincial government was actually rocked by the PPE scandal. Of course, you saw the axing there of, the MEC of Health, Dr. Bandile Masuku. Are you happy with the work, of the SIU in trying to recover the money that was actually taken? They've recovered 24 million out of 200 million.
We are happy with the SIU work, but we are unhappy with how the provincial government is responding. For example, there are employees which are still working, there's no action, despite that the SIU has made the report available. And in some department, the reports are there and they don't want to even share the report publicly. What is that they are doing internally, and so that we can do follow-up. Last month from the education side, we said, give us the report because 430 million has been spent or stolen. So when we ask, what are the consequences, what are the actions, they're saying they're still busy dealing with the report. How long will this take? Premier promised us that he has put system in place to monitor so that there's no corruption. So that on its own is a sign that he has failed dismally when it comes to corruption. But we are going to put pressure on him so that we want to see action taken so that the money which is stolen from the public get recovered, so that all those looters, they must not find space in this province, because we need services to be rendered to our people, not to be stolen by politicians and aligned people to those politicians.
The issue of jobs is quite a contentious one. I remember last year in the SOPA, the Premier spoke of a special economic zone creating over 3,000 jobs in the automotive space, especially in the city of Tshwane. What do you think about such initiatives? Have they actually gained fruition?
No, those are good initiatives. But as you're saying, they will also cite COVID as some of the challenges which affected, which we all know. But being a smart province, we need to come with creative ideas, because we know that Gauteng is that the place where everyone wants to go to. So when you compare Gauteng, you compare Western Cape, you will realize that Western Cape is ahead, and we expect the Premier to also jack up and say, this is what we can do based on the resources which are available. So if you can minimize and deal with people who are stealing these resources, I think we can go far. But if we don't, I'm saying we will come back and we'll be told of promises, and it will not help us.
Thank you so much for your time. Of course, that was Kumera Molefe, a DA member of the provincial legislature. Of course, I do implore you to stay tuned to SABC News on channel 404 for the latest on the State of the Province address. But for now, let's just actually take an ad break.